In this video, we're going to explore how we can add up a div in Tailwind CSS and explore how to use their options here. So let's scroll down here. So if you're on the documentation back on the main page, we scroll down here on the side, and you will eventually see here layout container. And here's a important item to remember. In Tailwind CSS, you will use eventually just the CSS properties consistently as a class. So you will not have a pre-made version like in Bootstrap where you have like a navigation or a button ready in a certain design like a pill or design or circle, etc, etc. So we have to assign them by all these classes. So for example here we have this container here. This is a class, and this class has certain breakpoints indicating here. So everything will be 100% if we just put in container. But if we say SM for small container, at that moment the max width will be this, and it will show some certain items. So let's start to use this, and you will understand far more better once how you apply something. We say here div class, and then we say here class container. And then you say here hello. If I save that, refresh here, we have this here. And remember, this is a container, so there's some space here usually between. So what we could do here, let's look at this. It says here margin X for left and right, automatic. Alright, let's activate that as well. See this? Now it starts to move a little bit because we have some white space here. Alright, to make this really clear, let's put in some background color. So we type in BG, and then we can use a background color, and in the Tailwind CSS, if you scroll down here, you will see here somewhere a heading with background color. There we are, or backgrounds, and then we can select here background color. Let's give it a background color, for example, red 400. So this is basically, you can see there are like different levels of intensity of the color. It starts at very light, and after that it gets darker, 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 eventually here to very dark, and halfway through it will be probably the perfect one of red, very nice red. Alright, so we're going to use this. So if we use this now, and then we go back here and refresh, you can see now we have here a background color. I will just give it a padding. We're putting here padding of 4 or 3, meaning that there's a padding on top, bottom, left, and right, exactly same as Bootstrap with a fixed amount. Alright. So we have this, but imagine you want to have a different color if you have, let's say we make it green, if it's smaller. Because right now this is by default, everything is red in this here. So let's say here if we have a small, and then we make this instead of red, we make it green. So if I do this, I'll say here green, and save that. You can see here now what happens is basically this. What happens is everything from small onward becomes green, and everything before that is red. So if I look at this and open up my developer tab and I select the mobile version, you can see now it becomes red. And if you start to expand it gradually, you will see eventually here the tipping point is at 640. So if you go back here in the Tailwind documentation and scroll back up to the container, a layout container, click on that. You can see here the breaking part. The moment it breaks is at 6 for SM is 640 pixels. That's correct. So everything before that is basically extra small and will be considered whatever color we have set here. So if we want to have, for example, only the small, but starting at medium size, showing green or showing red, we can move that away. So let's say here. So everything will be mobile responsive, except if we are on the medium size, so we call MD, very similar to Bootstrap. I can move this here more to the front so it will look a bit more appropriate. We save this now, refresh, so it will maintain green, even if we are in a mobile version here, very small. As you can see, it maintains it. Responsive, full throttling. Let's see if we have here any phone, let's say iPhone 6, 7, or 8. Alright, nothing happens here. If I remove the mobile view, nothing happens as well, because we're still on basically fit in this amount here. Basically the moment we hit this 768 that's the moment we will adjust our color. So let's look here. We are basically on 766, Then what we need to have 768, so 2 more pixels bigger, and then we will move to red. There we are, as you can see. So this is basically here, and how you can play around with this. It's very straightforward. Of course, you can see here now we don't have a set, but all this together creates a set. So it feels quite like CSS, because basically in CSS you would type in all the properties. They would say width 100%, and then if it's small mobile version, then we have the add screen, and then limitation if ever this or that. And here background color, etc., etc. Padding, top, bottom, left, and right. X amount. I think this is probably like 10 pixels or something, etc., etc. So this is very similar like that. So in the next video, we're going to explore more. We're going to make something nice.